The September update has dropped with the new supercharged defenses and the balance changes to hero equipment. So what is now the top 5 attack strategies at Town Hall 16? Today we're going to show you. At number 5, we have Edragons. This army can destroy a base in 60 seconds, as you're going to see in a minute. In terms of the hero equipment, the King's very interesting. If your King's not going to take a lot of damage if he's on the outside of the base, this is the best hero equipment here, particularly for air spam attacks. But if he is going to take a fair bit of damage, even on the outside of the base, you can swap the Vamp Stash for the Giant Gauntlet. Both of them are really good. For the Queen, we're obviously going to run the Giant Arrow and the Healer Puppet. By far the best when the Queen's on the outside of the base with air spam. Warden Healing Tome is still the best even with the nerf. And the Royal Champion, we're going to use the Rocket Spear to snipe some air defenses at the end of the attack so the Edragons can crush the middle. This is the exact style of base we're looking for with Edragons. Look at how compact the core of the base is. So I'm going to put my Queen down. We're just going to get rid of one of the sweepers. You see I got rid of that one there that the Edrags are going to be coming into, and then we spam the Edragons on the top side. Now, if your heroes aren't going to get the Town Hall, because obviously my heroes are going to get the Town Hall here, then you're going to use the Blimp for the Town Hall in this attack. But because my heroes are going to get the Town Hall, we're going to use the Stone Slammer with this army just on the top side to funnel the Edragons into the center. You always pop the Warden ability instantly with this army, and it's just about spreading out your rages at the start, then using your freezes on the back end. Keep in mind, you've got 5 freeze spells with this army. Keep using them. Don't let your Edragons go down. There's the final rage, so you're going to use 2 rages at the start, 1 if you're using it on the Blimp, and 1 to finish off the center of the base. And look at this. 3-starred so quickly. Queen is still doing her thing on the bottom side. The Healer Puppet is so good with this attack strategy. Now, if there is no Giant Arrow value or no need for you to use it, you can think about bringing like the Mirror Clone if you want, or the Frozen Arrow, but I really like the flexibility of having the Giant Arrow. You can remove air defenses with it if it's max, or you can remove a pesky air sweeper like I did. At number 4, we have my favorite attack strategy and what I'm pushing with this season, Warden Chareg Mass Rocket Balloons. This attack was relatively unaffected by the nerfs to the equipment, so let's have a look at the equipment we are bringing in. So I like to bring the Giant Gauntlet and the Spiky Ball, just do as much damage as possible with the King. Then we're going to bring the Healer Puppet and the Mirror Clone. Now, if you don't have the Mirror Clone upgraded, the Invis Vial is a fine replacement. For the Warden, we are bringing the Fireball. By the way, all the epics in this video, the highest level will be level 21, showing you that you can 3-star without maxed epic equipment in these attack strategies. And for the Royal Champion, we are going to bring the new combo, but you can also use the Hog Puppet and the Haste Vial. That's still strong as well. This attack strategy is all about the Fireball and the Warden Chareg. So when you're planning out your hit, I want you to pick a building that you're going to target with your Fireball. So for instance here, I'm targeting this Builder Hut because if I hit the Builder Hut with the Fireball, I'll get this Poison Tower, I'll get the Monolith, and I'll just be in range of the Clan Castle. And that's pretty awesome value. I'll also damage the Town Hall as well. But another thing I want you to think about that's kind of not thought about enough with this army is your Flame Flinger. If your Flame Flinger gets any value, it's so hard to fail with this attack strategy because you've got so much guaranteed damage. You get guaranteed damage with the Fireball, now with the Flame Flinger as well. You've got the Spiky Ball on the King, and you've got the Rocket Spear on the Royal Champion, as well as obviously the Mirror Clones as well. It's so much guaranteed damage with the army that there really isn't a lot of base left. So we see you use the Fireball there, using 2 Earthquakes. The only time I'd ever use just 1 Earthquake is if you've got the max Fireball. But keep in mind, if you've got a max Fireball, 1 Earthquake won't be enough to finish off the Eagle Artillery. Flame Flinger on the right side is doing a good job. Now, if there isn't any Flame Flinger value, keep in mind, right, your Warden's going to be tanking, say, the ground bow. So I could have put my Flame Flinger on the left-hand side over here because he's tanking all the defenses in the area. Even though it doesn't look like a great area to do the Flame Flinger, your Warden can make it so. Using plenty of balloons to look for Seeking Air Mines. I mean, you've got so many balloons in this army. You've got 3 regular balloons to look for either Teslas for your Flame Flinger or Seeking Air Mines, and then you've got 19 extra rocket balloons. Then what I want you to do with your King and Queen is just go for the toughest parts of the base. Now, the downside of this attack strategy is often the core of the base is really hard to get to, because even though you Fireball, your Warden won't always go to the core of the base. So this is why anti 2-star bases are the toughest army for this attack strategy, and that's why this attack strategy honestly isn't higher on the rankings. But that's why we got the Rocket Spear. I want you to use the Rocket Spear to take down those core buildings. Your Warden's still going to keep going. Your King and Queen's going to deal with annoying things on the outside of the base. Particularly defensive air heroes is really handy to help out your rocket balloons, and I don't even need to use the Royal Champion here. Now, this attack can get a little close on time, that's why I've got plenty of cleaned up troops with it, but yeah, you can tell this is completely wrecked. Even the supercharged defenses can't do anything to stop this. We've got 7 rocket balloons left, we've got a Royal Champion left, and if I'm good at maths, that is 8 swag spell space. This army's pretty insane. The reason, though, it's only at number 4 is it does take a little bit of skill, and funnily enough, it's probably the most skilled attack strategy on this top 5 list. At number 3, we have Rider Spam. This army is still very, very strong. It's also super easy, which is why it's quite high up on this list, but it did get pretty heavily nerfed, not only from the hero equipment, but Super Barbs, Druids, and Valks, and the Overgrowth all got nerfs themselves. In terms of the hero equipment, gonna run the damage equipment on the King, just trying to get as much damage as possible. Invis-Vial and Healer Puppet on the Queen. If you're sending her into the middle of the base, use the Frozen Arrow, but we're not gonna be doing that. Same on the Warden, and same on the Royal Champion as the usual Root Rider armies. So what you want to do with this army is start with your King and Queen and try and get as much value as possible. Now, you can do the more spammy Root Rider version of this army, where you essentially use the Siege Barracks one side, and then spam the Root Riders everywhere else, and send your King and Queen into the center. And that can still work, but I still think this way is definitely better. There's a reason the pros do it this way. Not only gets the base down quicker, but it's just much safer, and you're guaranteeing that you should get good value from your King and Queen, rather than just following them behind a whole line of troops. So I use the jump spell to get more value for the King and Queen, Siege Barracks on the top side, and look, the King and Queen have made a much better funnel for our Root Rider spam, and now it's pushing into the base really quickly. Now we need to overgrowth that Town Hall before it goes down, even though the Eternal Tome is still in effect. Don't want that Town Hall to go down at all. That's going to be the last building we take down if we do this army right. Also worth noting, I send the Royal Champion in with the Root Rider spam. We don't use her on the flank. We want her to be down for as long as possible because she's going to be outputting a whole lot of damage, particularly with the extra haste effect she gets of the Haste Vial, the passive stats, which is really handy. Look at this, by the way. The Queen is still alive. I mean, the Healer Puppet is so good with this army. So yes, you can run the Mirror Clone if you want, but I really like the Healer Puppet. In saying that, you'd probably run the Mirror Clone instead of the Invis-Vial, but I also really like the damage of the Invis-Vial because your Queen isn't guaranteed to live forever. Now, the Overgrowth doesn't last as long, so you can see we are losing a few more troops at this stage, but it is so wrecked. We're going to use the Rage to help the RC Haste Vial. I mean, the Haste Vial is still super strong, even if it lasts 2 less seconds. This attack strategy is awesome, but it's not as strong as it was pre-update. At number 2, we have Dragon Clone. This attack strategy was relatively unaffected by the balance changes, and I only see it being stronger in this meta. Now, the hero equipment is the exact same as the Edragon attack strategy. The only difference is the Warden here, we are going to bring the Owl as opposed to the Phoenix that we were bringing with Edragons. The reason you bring the Phoenix with Edragons, you don't want the Owl doing damage to take away from the Edragon's chains, whereas with Dragons, they don't do any chain damage, so I don't mind the Owl doing the extra damage. Let's take down the base as quickly as possible. This attack strategy is so strong that you can make mistakes with the army and still get 3 stars. Have a look at this. I missed the sweeper that's facing the direction that my dragons are coming in, but is that going to stop us 3-starring? No. Now, something I should have talked about during the E-Dragon attack, but I'll talk about now, is when it comes to these air spam armies, you want to keep your King and Queen out of range of the defensive clan castle, because if there's a Hound or an Ice Golem in there, we don't want to pull that. So notice my King and Queen are on the top side as far away from the clan castle as possible. The Blimp gets to the Town Hall, and notice this, generally you want to clone Loons onto the major defenses in the area, not onto the Town Hall because your balloons in the Blimp will get that, but particularly defenses behind the Town Hall, because the only way our dragons can take those down is by going through the Town Hall poison effect, and we don't want them to do that, so I get rid of the scatter and the poison tower behind the Town Hall by using the clone spell really nicely. Now, when it comes to this attack strategy, if the defensive clan castle is down, you can put your royal champion wherever you want her to. So I decided to put her on the top side, but generally you're going to want to put her in the center of the base because she's really good with the Seeking Shield and the Rocket Spear at taking down major defenses, whereas the Hog Puppet and the Haste Vial is a bit better on the outside of the base. And yet again, a super quick triple here. Didn't even matter that I missed the sweeper. We're still able to get the 3-star versus this maxed Town Hall 16. And unsurprisingly, at number 1, we have Super Witch Druid Fireball. This attack strategy was already insane and somehow didn't get nerfed at all. Now, the King's interesting in terms of the hero equipment. You can run any of the Rage Vial, Giant Gauntlet, Earthquake Boots, and the Spiky Ball. If you want to see the perfect combination, because I haven't played around with this army a lot, in 2 days TK is going to do a video on this attack strategy. He's a master with it, and hopefully by then he's figured out the best hero equipment combination. But this is what I'm going to run in this attack strategy, or at least in this attack. We've got the Healer Puppet and the Mirror Clone, because we're going to set an awesome funnel with the Queen. We've got the Unicorn on the Warden, and then obviously the Fireball, and then the Royal Champion, we're going to run the default ground attack equipment. What I really like about this attack strategy is it's not about being super complex with the Fireball. You just pick a defense on the outside of the base to go for to set a good funnel. So I go for the air defense here. We do get really good value with that in terms of defenses, but also the funnel. As soon as you've done the Fireball, we're going to put the Siege Barracks with the Queen on the left-hand side, and then we use the King with the Super Witches to tank this Monolith. Now, I am going to use the freeze spell, I believe, here to keep my King alive, because we want the Earthquake Boots to get as far through the base as possible. Now, this is why I really like the Earthquake Boots. So have a look. I needed to use a wall break on the top side here. I needed to use 2 wall breakers to get through here. Now I've got no wall breakers left, and I've only got 1 jump spell. Now, I can wait for the Super Witches to beat through the walls, but that can take time and it can be a little risky. Why would you do that if you can do this instead? I mean, look at that. So many walls open. Now, it didn't open as many layers I wanted, so it was kind of a fail in that aspect, but still, I think that was really handy, and it's also really cool to watch. We pop the Mirror Clone on the top side, and in terms of the Druids, the way I do it, I add 2 Druids at the start, or 3, 2 or 3, essentially add 2 or 3 at a time. You've got 8 of them total, so you can add 2 lots of 3 and 1 lot of 2, but some of the time, like I did here, you can also use a Druid on the top side, particularly with your Mirror Clone, because will help heal all of them. But yeah, essentially where you need the damage. And why I really like showing this attack more than the others is, look at this. My Super Witches are beating through a wall. My King and the Bears are elsewhere on the base. This attack is so out of time. It is not well executed at all. And still we're going to get a really strong 3-star. I'm sitting on the Rage and the Invis here. We got the Druids still keeping the Super Witches alive. That's the thing with this. It is so hard to kill the Super Witches. Even though you don't have an Eternal Tome, you have the power of the Druids. Even with the slight nerf they got, it won't really affect this attack strategy. RC's done a great job on the right-hand side of the base, clearing stuff out. And look at this, her ability is going to pop in a second. The Hogs aren't going to get much value, but they didn't really need to at this point. They're going to go ahead, hopefully. Yep, they missed that. They still tank relatively well. Yes, it's not as strong as before, but I don't think the Hog Puppet is ridiculously bad. But that is it for this video. I've showed you what I think are the top 5 attack strategies. You can disagree with the ranking, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of you will agree with at least the attacks that are in the top 5. Let me know if I got it right or wrong. All the army links for this will be down in the description below. And yeah, stay around for more awesome update content coming in the next couple of days.